Let's talk about your summer plans. How about studying for the SATs? I know it sounds terrible, but this is the perfect time when you don't have schoolwork to compete with your attention to study for the SATs. So, do you have to study for the SATs or do you have to take the SATs? Unfortunately, you kind of do. It's a major part of your college application, which is why it's great to get it done and over with over the summer. So, once you take the SATs and get it over with, even if you're a rising sophomore or junior, and especially if you're a rising senior, you can use it for a bunch of different things, like summer programs, so you never have to come back here and take the SATs again. Or you can use it to apply for scholarships. Many scholarships look at your SAT scores and your GPA to consider if they're going to award you any money. Another advantage of studying for the SATs is that all the skills that you gain and the practice that you gain from studying for this test, you can use for other future tests like the GMAT, GREs, MCAT, LSAT. You have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm telling you, standardized tests are in your future. So might as well start early and get used to it. So what do? First, you need to take a diagnostic test. You need to figure out exactly how out of shape you are before you can figure out where you need to go. Next, you need to find a class that's right for you. You could technically study at home, but what are the chances that you're actually going to dedicate the time to study every day when the sun's shining, your friends calling you, and no one's really holding you accountable? So when you're looking for the right class, you need to find a class that's right for your level. So if they're going to review the questions, you need to make sure that it's going at the right speed, not too fast, not too slow, and covers all the mistakes and details that you need to improve your score. Another thing to consider is how long to study for this test. If your score needs to improve, or you would like your score to improve more than 100 points, you need to dedicate 6 to 7 weeks to studying for this exam. Why 6 to 7 weeks? Well, if you only study 3 or 4 weeks, most of the students that study for the SATs over the summer, their scores actually decline at week 4 before it starts to improve, because that's when you start to actually apply the skills that you've learned in your SAT class to the test. I'll explain a little bit more about this later. Several things to consider when you're studying for the SATs. 1, set aside a set number of hours to study for this test every single day. During those hours that you've assigned, dedicate yourself to studying for this test. Don't check your phone, don't watch TV, lock yourself in a room if you're not taking a class. 2, don't cram for this test. First of all, you can't cram for this test. There's nothing to really memorize. And another thing to consider is it's like trying to get in shape. Just because you worked out for 12 hours one day, you're not going to be in shape the next day. You need to do it a bit at a time throughout the summer until the big race day, which is the exam date. 3, you need to build your stamina. It's a really long test. If you write the essay portion, it's a 4+ hour ordeal, and most of you should do the essay. So even if you're really good at the math section, that's at hour 3. After you've read a lot of dry reading passages and analyze and pick through grammar in the writing section. So you need to practice taking the full test. It's kind of like running a marathon. So you need to build your test-taking skills. That includes learning the tips and tricks to figure out how quickly you can solve these problems. If you have unlimited amount of time, most of you could probably score really well on this test. But a big portion of doing well in the SATs is managing your time. 4, you need to practice. Just like I mentioned, you need to improve your speed and apply those skills and tips that you've learned in your class or in your home study. So a big reason you need to practice is what I mentioned before of the importance of taking a 6 to 7+ week SAT program. If you don't practice, at around week 4, your score does go down, and that's a lot of it has to do with the lack of practice. 5, you need to review the test. So what I mean by review the test is not that one time that you took the test, but each day when you practice, go over all of your wrong answers and figure out why it's wrong, and also identify the other wrong answers, why those are wrong as well. Once you get good at figuring out why those questions are wrong, you'll be able to answer the questions a lot more quickly and get to the right answer. When you're studying for the SATs, the most important thing I need to mention is that you need to use the new materials. Don't use old SAT questions or old SAT materials because the test has been redesigned. The passages are different, the questions are different, and the answer choices, the wrong answer choices and the correct answer choices are very different. So good luck this summer in your SAT prep. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, just leave them below or contact us. All right. Thanks. Bye.
상담하러 왔어요?